Hello ladies and welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden, and in today's video we have part 11 of the cars under a certain price ranges series that we do every year. I was supposed to get this done by the end of 2023, and by the time this video is going live, it'll probably be January 19th, I want to say. And so obviously I didn't do that correctly, but today is under $3,000. The way this series works is I started at 25K, then I did 20, 15, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, and now we're on to 3K, and I include 0 duplicates in any of those videos. That way you have a ton of cars to choose from no matter what price point you have. Song of the day is a country song, because I'm really getting into country music lately. It's by Luke Combs, and it's called Beer Never Broke My Heart. Now that is the most country name for a song in the God's green earth. So obviously, if you are not into that stuff, don't listen to it, because you're not gonna like it. It's just gonna make you upset, man. But it's my favorite song. On top of that, I've started a playlist, actually. I know I'm wasting a lot of your guys' time, so I'm sorry, but I started a playlist of song of the days, and once we get to a certain number, like probably like 50 songs or so, I'll drop a link in the description of videos from here on out to that playlist, because I've been adding every single one of my song of the days to that playlist so you guys can get an accurate representation of Mark Roden's taste. But without further ado, let's go right into the list with number 10. Number 10 is going to a toaster. Just kidding, guys. It's a car. God, it's just a joke. It's a common joke, okay? It's a common joke that people make about this car because it looks like a toaster. It's the Scion XP, specifically the first generation, but honestly, either 2 generations is fine. They're pretty much exactly the same car. There's not like a big difference between them. I mean, I'm sure Scion XP enjoyers are going to be really upset that I just said that, but they're pretty much the same car. But the first gen comes with a 2.4 liter inline 4, making 158 horsepower in its front wheel drive. Obviously, the horsepower is low, but if you're buying a Scion XP, I really highly doubt you care about that. I don't think that is even in the realm of your care. You know, you do not give a hootenanny about the horsepower of a Scion XP. It's just a cool little car. And yes, I said cool. I think these things are kind of cool. It's just a cool little car for you to modify if you are into like stance stuff, or you want to drive your friends around, and something that's a little bit unique, you know? It's not for everybody, that's for sure. But that's why it's here at the number 10 spot. Coming in at the number 9 spot, however, is also a car that's not for everybody. Actually, the Chrysler 300C first generation. I want to put this out there really quickly because I already got the background footage for this video before filming, so I know that the second video is not a first gen Chrysler 300C. I know that, but I couldn't find a better video of a first gen, so deal with it. But the car comes with a 3.6 liter V6, making 292 horsepower in its rear wheel drive. Now they are only an automatic because they're a luxury car, and people think that if they drive a luxury car, they have to drive it in automatic. They're weirdos. I don't know, man. Normal people that don't like cars, not the smartest people out there. But 300 horsepower in a freaking, yes, it's a big body sedan, I'll admit it, but a luxury car with tons of room in its rear wheel drive, that's a really good combo. That's like Lexus LS400 levels of just good combo. And the motor's not the most reliable, but it's also not that unreliable either. Coming in at 8th place, however, is a car that is so, like, just honestly forgettable. Like, I always forget that it exists, but then when I hear about it again, or when I think about it again, I'm just like, oh, God, thank you, Lord, for making this car a possibility. It's the Mercedes C280 W202. The W202 platform is just so gorgeous. It comes with a 2.8 liter inline 6, making 190 horsepower in its rear wheel drive. A lot of you guys say, oh, you should include more Mercedes in your videos. You always talk about Audis, you always talk about Volkswagens, you always talk about BMWs. Where are the Benz? Well, the problem with Benz is usually they're automatic, and I'm not really a big, like I said before in the Chrysler 300C, like, I'm not really the biggest fan of automatics, and so I just kind of always not really do research on them. But the C280 W202 is an exception. The thing is so cool. Every car guy out there likes this car. Like, it's not possible for you to not like it. Number 7 is a car that's very possible for you to not like it, though. It's the Mini Cooper S, R53 specifically, but honestly, if you can find any Mini Cooper S, it's probably better than the R53. The R53, obviously, as we all know, had a little bit of a reliability issue, and that's the reason why it's here at number 7. Everything else about the car is incredible, but the reliability of the Mini Cooper S R53 is just not really there. But the car comes with a 1.6 liter supercharged, there's its problem, inline 4, making 163 horsepower in its front wheel drive. Now, Mini is obviously a British brand. British folk tales are not the best at making the most reliable cars out there. To be nice about it, I mean, they make Jaguars, they make Minis, they make Bentleys, they make Rolls Royce. None of those are necessarily known for their reliability. So of course, when they add a supercharged inline-4 into a little hatchback, it was not going to be the most reliable. But its horsepower is good, and it's really good for making even more power on, and it looks pretty cool. Sixth place, Mercedes guys are going to get angry again. It's the Audi A4 B6. That's right. You thought I was going to talk about one German car and not bring up the Audi A4 B6s in my videos? You're wrong, partner. I bring up Audi A4s all the time. You should be used to this by now. They're like in almost every one of my videos. People get upset about it sometimes, and they're like, where's the variety? But they are just that good of cars. They come with a 1.8 liter turbocharged inline-4, making 170 horsepower in their front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, depends on if you get a quattro or not. But either way, the car, that motor is the same motor that they were putting in the Mark IV GTIs of the time, which are obviously a very popular car right now. I mean, those things are getting really overpriced. And so if you don't have the money to afford a Mark IV GTI, just get a 1.8T A4. You have a sedan version of the Mark IV GTI. Like, yeah, it's a little bit heavier. It's not going to be as like nimble as the GTI will be, but it's the same motor. Speaking of some heavy boys, number 5 is the Ford Crown Victoria. This car gets a lot of love lately. Remember, literally, like in 2016, you could buy Crown Vics for literally $500. And yes, it was because they were auctioning off because of the old police were getting rid of all theirs, and so it makes sense why it is a little bit higher. But still, like nowadays, it's kind of hard to find them for 500. Like it's not possible to find them for 500. Oh god, cough. 4.6 liter V8 is what it comes with, making 235 horsepower, and it's rear-wheel drive. I was just in the middle of talking, and I just had to cough. I apologize for that. But the Ford Crown Vic is still a really good option for if you just want like a rear-wheel drive, cheap, fun little car. Is it the best for making power? Not necessarily. Is it the most reliable car out there? Not necessarily. I mean, it's also not that bad, especially for a V8, but still, not necessarily. Is it the best choice for under $3,000? Not necessarily, but it's a fun rear-wheel drive muscle car. Well, light on the word muscle. Fourth place is going to a big old boy, pretty much the Mercedes-Benz, but of Japan, the Lexus LS400. Lexus isn't a Japanese brand, but you know what I mean when I say Japan. It's the same thing. The LS400, I talked about it in almost all my videos. Yes, you can still find them under $3K, but yes, they are going up in price, so get one soon if you do want one, because they're not going to be under $3K for too much longer. They come with a 4-liter V8 making 270 horsepower in its rear-wheel drive. That is a 1UZ FE, and is one of the most reliable V8s ever made. There's LS400s that reach 1 million miles. Not a lot of the time, but there's only like 1 or 2 of them that have done it, but still, the fact that it's even been done is really impressive. The 1UZ is also decently good on gas. Like, the car is just obviously a really good daily driver. Yes, it only comes in an automatic. Yes, it's very heavy. No, it's not a sports car. It's a car for if you just want to cruise with a comfy car that looks kind of cool. Third place, however, is going to kind of the complete opposite of that. It's the Honda Civic 5th generation. This car is not heavy. This car is not the best for cruising out there. It is pretty reliable, but it is also really, really old at this point, so the reliability is kind of depends on how the previous owner took care of it. But it's a Civic, man. Even if the previous owner threw it off of Mount Everest, this thing would just start right up. The car comes with a 1.5 liter inline-4, making 106 horsepower in its front-wheel drive. Obviously really slow out of the gate. The car is also really light though out of the gate, and it is a Honda, so you just go to a junkyard real quick, find yourself another motor and swap it into it, and now you got yourself a very reliable car, or a very fast car, I should say. My bad. Just relax, dude. I made a mistake. It happens to everybody. God. But the 5th gen EG Civic, whatever you want to call it, is just an icon at this point. And yes, you can still find some admittedly pretty beaten up examples for under $3,000. Second place is another car that I'm going to get comments down below saying, this guy's an idiot. He has no idea what he's talking about. You can't find those under $3K. It's the BMW 325i E36. My friend is literally selling his convertible 325i E36 right now for $2,900. And people are going to be like, no, you can't do it. It's not possible. But anyway, car comes with a 2.5 liter inline-6, making 189 horsepower in its rear-wheel drive. And yes, my friends, is a manual. Before you comment down below, like, yeah, but you're not finding a manual one. You are finding a manual one. It's people like to make up excuses as to why they don't want to look for cars because it takes time out of their day. But in reality, a lot of these cars are cheaper than you think, or I live in a different place than you. That's probably the more likely response to that statement. If you live in California, yeah, you're not finding a 325i E36 under $3,000, but in Connecticut, these things are under it all day, and they're obviously an incredible deal. It's an E36. Honorable mention time, however, because I like to include at least one truck in all of my sports car videos because I like trucks and I think they're pretty cool, but I also don't want to put them in my video that says sports cars only and then make people mad that one of the spots are taken up with a truck. So it's in the honorable mention, and it's the Ford Ranger. For under $3,000, you are not finding a truck that's like as reliable as this one can. It comes with a 4-liter V6 making 207 horsepower, and it's 4x4. Obviously, it's not the flashiest car out there. It's a Ford Ranger. Like, you're not going to bingo with this bad boy and picking up any of the grandmas, but you are going to be reliable. You're getting to bingo and back without having to worry. First place is another reliable bad boy, but this one is actually significantly cool and fast and fun and just all around an incredible deal. An Acura TL 3rd generation. I am Mark Roden. Okay, if you have ever watched a single video of mine, if you have even heard my name before in the past, you know how much I love the 3rd gen TL right now. I think it's just such a good deal for the price that it's at. It really is. It comes with a 3.2 liter V6 making 252 horsepower in its front wheel drive. That is a really decent horsepower number for under $3,000. But on top of that, the car is also relatively new, so it has a lot of nice new technology in it. It's a Honda, so it's reliable as hell. It can also make decent power, admittedly not as much as something like a B series or a K series can, but still pretty good power, especially for a V6. And on top of that, it looks good and is a quote-unquote luxury car, okay? So it's pretty comfortable to drive too. There's no reason that I mean, yes, obviously front wheel drive does not sit well with everybody, but that's the only downside to an Acura TL 3rd generation, and maybe the looks, but that's personal preference. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video of the top 10 best sports cars for under $3,000, part 11 in our multi-part series. We only have 2 parts left, which is obviously $2,000 and $1,000. And yes, I did manage to find 10 cars for under $2,000 and 10 different cars for under $1,000. But do not get excited for those videos because they're not the coolest cars out there. But there are some out there that are decent, at least for under those price ranges. So be prepared for those bad boys. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. I gotta go eat dinner. It's already freaking 7:30 at night. Oh, my glasses aren't on my face. I was gonna do like a type of thing, but my glasses are over there. But anyway, I gotta go. Das Vidania, and have a nice night.